the premier sports talk radio, it's Tony's Takes.
Here we go.
Welcome back to another great episode of Tony's Takes live right here on YouTube for the best show in sports talk radio. It's Tony's Takes, and of course I'm not alone in the studio today. Sitting next to me is my co-host, Jimmy D. Jim, hello.
Hey Tony, what's going on?
Another great week. I feel like it comes up so quickly. All of a sudden you turn around and it's another great episode of Tony's Takes. And on today's episode, we are going to be talking about the lovely 76ers. It's so great to have a team that's winning like this in Philadelphia once again. And speaking of winning teams, we're going to talk about the anniversary of another team that had a winning tradition about 3 years ago. And it's the anniversary of the Eagles winning of the national championship for the NFL, because we're going to talk about why we can't say that word of the big game. We're going to talk about the Nets beating the Clippers. And of course, and probably where a lot of the argument's going to come today, St. Joe's and LaSalle talk. I have a great article up at a10talk.com talking about LaSalle's major upset over the St. Louis Billikens, who were the only hope for the Atlantic 10 to really have, now it's St. Bonaventure and St. Louis, but man, LaSalle, they are the A10 at-large bid busters. That's what they are. And it's kind of exciting to see a team like LaSalle really play that role. The friends of ours, the Golo Standard, we had them on Tony's Takes. We talked about the lovely Tom Golo Arena, and man, teams are probably now scared to go to what I thought was the worst stadium in all of college basketball, which is now the deadliest stadium in all of college basketball. So we're going to get to all that great stuff. And we got in a fight. Me and former producer Sean P. and Tommy Higley got in a fight over the one and only Phil Martelli, the ghost of Phil Martelli, floating around St. Joe's fans all over the ether of the Twitter sphere. So we're going to get into talk about that little fight that we had. Feisty. But first, let's get into the 76ers. I was watching the game last night, and it was absolutely exciting. It was one of those games where you see Joel Embiid grab a rebound, run down the court with the ball in his hand, and then try to dunk it or get a layup. It was one of those games where everyone's playing fast and loose and they don't care. And sometimes it leads to the game being a 2-point game when you don't want it to be. Like last night, it kind of got a little close for my liking. However, when they play like that, you just know as 76ers fans, and I was thinking about this, not to get nostalgic, but it's so... Talking about the 76ers, it's so easy to sit back and go, oh, another win. What'd they do right? What'd they do right? What'd they do right? And that's fine. Fans of the Philadelphia 76ers, I mean, that's what we can talk about if you really want to. But I like to be a little nostalgic and think back on history. That's what Tony's Takes is known for. It's our great history lessons. We talked about the mediocrity of Phil Martelli's tenure after 2004, 2003. And now we're going to talk about the mediocre of the 76ers. And I'm going to say this as my first point. Never compare college basketball to pro basketball. They are two different animals. They are two different things. The 76ers organization 5 years ago, how hard was it? We were the team like the Charlotte Hornets who were having guys run up and down on us. We were a doormat, and it felt awful. But we did it in good hopes that the team would be good, and it paid off. But thinking back on it, man, were those teams brutal to watch. Absolutely awful to watch. And as I was watching us beat up on a terrible Hornets team, I was thinking to myself how far we have come. Where Joel Embiid is now an MVP candidate, scoring plus 30 almost every night. And if it's not plus 30, it's 28 points. We have come so far as 76ers fans And I don't want anyone to forget the journey we've been on. The first year we went to the playoffs, that was a great year. But man, was it a different team than what we have now? Now, this is what a winner looks like when you know that they have a real shot to win a championship. Not just a team that looks like a winner and you know that there's still this veil that is waiting to be pierced where you see, oh, that's what the team really is. It has this pretty facade of a 50-win team, but then you cut to the meat of the matter. You punch through the wall that doesn't have a backing to it. You go right through it, and you see the decay that is inside. You see the lack of fundamental structure behind that facade. But not now. Now we have the team. The team that has a punch. The team that's not afraid to hit game winners. The team that has an MVP who takes the ball, runs up the court and says, no one's stopping me, not LeBron James, not this Hornets team. You are all nothing to the greatness of Joel Embiid. And man, it was never like that for Philadelphia. We have never seen basketball like this. For all the blog boys who hopped on the Sixers wagon the minute they got good, or all the people of the Fairweather Fishtown fans who jumped on this team 4 years ago and then complained when they lost against the Celtics but didn't understand the true issue. Where everyone wants to say making trades and doing this or that is what's going to make the team better. Now, making trades does make a team better. But in reality, the reason why this team is good is because Joel Embiid decided to be good. And that's the simple fact. There's no other way around it. Joel Embiid is playing almost every night now. He's playing to an MVP level caliber team. No longer do we have to think that Jimmy Butler's coming here to save our skin when he's an average player. No longer do we have to wait for LeBron James to pick us. Remember that? Remember that 3 years ago, fans? Remember that 76ers team? The one where we're so shallow and degraded that we were asking for little LeBron to come to Philadelphia to help us out because we didn't believe in anyone that we had in this team. But that's not the case anymore. That isn't it. No, this team is great. This team is greatness. And every night we get the pleasure of watching a team like this run up and down the court and embarrass other grown men. And it is something that we cannot forget as Philadelphia fans. It isn't. Don't forget it. It fades quickly. Look at the Eagles. They are nothing now. It fades so fast. But once a team has that chemistry, once they have that confidence, man, there's no stopping them. And there's no stopping the 76ers. The Lakers can't do it, and I'm pretty sure the Nets won't be able to do it. No one bullies Joel Embiid. No one on the Nets could possibly do it. Kevin Durant doesn't even have a leg to stand on, literally. There is no way he is stopping 7'2", 280-pound Joel Embiid, who's losing weight by the day and getting fitter as he eats broccoli and cauliflower. Wow. Finally someone who's going to take his body seriously like Tom Brady does. Finally, someone who's going to punish the opponent and not have to do the trash talking to prove it. Is just going to put 40 points on the board and say, that's the trash talk. There it is. That's what greatness is. And man, is Joel Embiid great. Man, is this team great. And don't forget it. Don't forget this. Jim?
Tony, let's dig in on this Embiid stuff, all right? So 6, 30, and 10 games this season, or 30-plus, 10-plus games this season. That's looking pretty good considering we've only played 22 games. So we're about a third of the way through the season, and he's got 6 of these games. We could expect around 20 games like this from him, and I'm expecting more than that, honestly. He's getting on a roll, and after that game last night, in his interview, he said something that he's only 50% of where he wants to be health-wise, like physically. He's only 50%? If that's 50%, what is he going to? He's going to put up 60 points a night? He is a monster. He already looks like he is in the best shape of his life. There's no doubt about it. But the question with Embiid and the Sixers team, and it keeps popping up all over sports media, are the Sixers only as good as him?
Possibly.
Because if he's out, and he's had his injuries in the past, he's had his load management, he's had all sorts of things that have taken him out, and things that weren't even his fault. When he broke the eye socket, that wasn't his fault that he was out for that long. But
you can't control basketball plays like that.
So I'm just saying, if we lose Embiid, What does this team look like? Can they still make a run until he gets back? And can this team basically hold it together if they need to without him?
I don't know. I mean, I look at Tobias Harris and how well he's playing, and I attribute a lot of it because Joel Embiid's playing great. Joel Embiid is getting open looks for these guys. And Tobias Harris, I don't know if he can carry a team. He proved with him and Joel they couldn't carry a team against the Celtics last year. Or, yeah, technically it was last year. Without just Ben Simmons. So, I think your point's valid, but I think this is different. I think this is different Joel, and I'm not worried about injuries as much. Can I play the clip? We're going to play the clip. Joel talking about his fitness. Here he is, Joel Embiid, the man, the myth, the legend.
I'm not sure. We got to see when I get there. But, I mean, I still feel great. When I say that, doesn't mean that I'm not there. I'm there. But with the new changes to the diet and everything, it's just going to take a while to see the results. But I'm there. I feel great. I'm getting better every single day, and we keep getting wins.
Keep getting wins. That's all that matters, Jim.
Tony, did you see what was reported about why he's playing as well as he is?
Way to set yourself up. Why is he playing as well as he
Well,
is?
it just came out last night.
Do you want me to
after
play the
game.
clip before I say it?
I don't know. Maybe we should. I think we might.
Okay, this is Joel Embiid now talking about why he's so great outside of just the fitness itself. What is Joel's motivating factor? Well, listen in.
It's been great. I'm kind of bummed, about not being home every single day. I miss
Having the intern pause it. He's talking about his son. I should have prefaced it. I realized that I didn't record the question itself on the recording. So this is Joel Embiid talking about his motivator, which is his son.
I miss them a lot when I'm on the road, but it's been great. I'm just enjoying. I like to keep my life private, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's been an amazing experience, and just watching him grow every single day makes me better. I think that's also part of me also being better this year. I want him to grow up and see his father be, at the top of his game, the best in the game. I want him to know that, see that his father was an All-Famer and win titles because I want him to be better than me. Just like, my father growing up, I saw him, the success that he had. I wanted to be better than him. So, I got to set the ball really high.
Really high.
Tony, that sounds oddly familiar. I think the intern have the clip. Oh, no clip from the intern. I think
what?
I said that 2 weeks ago.
Oh. You could have clipped it yourself.
Oh.
The intern works for me.
2 weeks ago, Tony. 2 weeks ago. I believe I said that, and you questioned me on it.
I did, and I still do.
You thought it was absurd.
I just don't like the fact that everyone was going, Carson Wentz was playing bad because he had a son, and now Joel Embiid's playing well because he had a son. Well, which one is it? That's my problem.
Well, Carson Wentz is a broken athlete, and Joel Embiid has fixed himself. I don't attribute everything to him having his son, but it definitely is a motivator for him. He talks about that and him eating well and training, and
I wonder what his diet is.
I don't know. He has to be eating a lot. Like, there's no doubt about that.
Just tons of energy.
Yeah, sure. Maybe he's just increasing the amount of vegetables he eats and decreasing the amount of Chick-fil-A that he eats. That could be.
Did he eat a lot of Chick-fil-A?
Oh yeah. Have you ever seen the videos of they make the like last year Matisse Thybulle?
Right.
They make the rookies go get Popeyes and Chick-fil-A before they leave. Like they don't eat that well.
Just like a
communal level.
Can I just get a tray of Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets? Or are they called chicken nuggets at Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
The grilled chicken sandwich, that's my go-to.
Okay, that's because Jim doesn't eat carbs. He orders the sandwich and then takes it off the bread. You get one of those lettuce wrap.
Oh, I do.
The lettuce buns.
I do like a nice lettuce wrap.
Now, if you're tuning into Tony's Takes for the first time, please make sure to subscribe to the show. We're up to 29 subscribers, and we're only going to keep growing if you keep spreading the news of Tony's Takes. So make sure to share the YouTube account with your friends so they can listen to the best show in sports talk radio, Tony's Takes. And if you're listening to the show right now live on YouTube, make sure to put your takes in the chat, and we will read them out loud on today's show. So we're going to go through the chat right now. Eviction Night goes Joel Embiid is greater than the Nets, and I'm about to play a Nets clip with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen Daniels goes, he could be better than King James. Probably is. And Julie Stratton goes, he's a closet carb eater, talking about Jim, not Joel Embiid, clearly. And then Caitlin Reyes goes, don't jinx it, buddy. I'm not jinxing anything. No, this team's good. I'm not backing down on what I said. And now, the most important person in the chat, Lazed. This is my favorite time. Lazed Music. Check out Lazed Music. Official mixer of Tony's Takes. I tried to hire him as the intern, but he's too good for us. So, glad to see everyone in the chat, and we're going to keep on rolling. Jim, we're going to play this clip. I started the show and opened it with a monologue saying that the 76ers are the best team in the NBA. No one's stopping them. And I said the Nets aren't going to stop them either. But our friend Stephen A. Smith, the one and only, the king of takes himself, the king of being outlandish and not caring. And I mean, we all love it. Stephen A. Smith talking. This is him talking about I almost said the New York Nets, the Brooklyn Nets, and why they are going to win the NBA Finals this spring.
Know anybody that can look at those three dudes, that big three in Brooklyn, and say definitively, we can stop them. Of course, the Lakers should be the favorites, but it's by a hair simply because of the offensive juggernaut that they are. They don't have to change a damn thing to get to the finals. They are coasting. They're coming out of the East. They're going to the NBA Finals. In order to win it, if last night you're asking me, play like that, and they could win? Yes, as constructed, playing offense like that, they can win the championship. I don't know if they'd be able to against the Lakers offensively, but they can win a championship without making a move if they can play offense like that every night.
I'm going to say this. Stephen A. Smith's inflection really, if you're wearing headphones, like you really feel it when he speaks. Jim, what do you think? What is your thought on the take that the Nets are winning it all? Of course, Stephen A. says that, and then Max Kellerman literally goes, no, they're not. It's like, yes, they are. No, they're not. That's the beauty of that show, I guess. And he says that Max Kellerman said to Stephen A. after Stephen A.'s statement about the Nets that the Nets are one player away from actually being a contender. So, Jim, where do you stand on this? Are the Nets a one-player away team, or are they there? And how does it relate to all the recent news of the 76ers being claimed to be a team that also has to make a move? It seems like these two teams are in front, and everyone's pushing for, and everyone just heard me on the monologue. I talked about moves are important, but man, it's really about the guys who stand up on the roster. Seems like the mainstream media, it seems like the narrative of sports media is saying otherwise. They just want to make a trade and play GM. So, Jim, what are your thoughts?
First off, he says, I don't know how any team could look at the Nets and say that we can stop them. Have you seen the Sixers? I think you got Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, and Danny Green. And I wasn't a big fan of Danny Green, but now I am because I think his defense is pretty good. I think that those four players can stop those three easily. And guess what? Jeff Green as their center? No way. No way is that dude going to match up well against Joel Embiid. He is going to own him the entire night. There's no way that this Nets team just thinks that they're just going to roll over the Sixers in the playoffs. It's not going to happen. If they have to face each other, that's going to be a 6 or 7 game series, and it's going to be a fun series for us to watch. But I do not see it that easy for the Nets, and I think the Sixers have their
number.
Their number, yeah. And as far as like that whole missing one player or so, both teams I do really think are missing one player. That's for sure. The Nets, easy hole, they're missing a center. They don't have anybody that can match up with Joel Embiid. Now, Joe Harris,
Anthony Davis.
Or Anthony Davis, correct, yeah. Now, Joe Harris is actually the best shooter on that team, and that just gives the Nets a ton of firepower. And that's what I think the Sixers lack. Like, both of them could help each other out, right? Like, we have two centers that are pretty good with Dwight Howard. I think he's a great backup. And they have multiple shooters. I mean, they have 4 starters that can really shoot the ball. So they both kind of missing what each other has. And I think that's why they match up so creatively against each other,
Lazed goes, the Knicks are good. Hot take. That is kind of a hot take, but they beat the Bulls last night. Okay. So then, Jim, rationalize this to me. For the 76ers, I agree. They're one player away. I think this team is at its best if it doesn't trade, or they don't trade. It's whatever, grammar. If they don't trade for Bradley Beal, I don't think trading for Bradley Beal is the solution, because the only way you get him is giving up Ben Simmons. And the minute you do that, we really can't match up with the Lakers or have an advantage over the Nets, because Tobias Harris continues to be the X factor on this team with his size and his ability to score at the position he stands at, and with Ben Simmons' defense. It's like you put LeBron on Ben Simmons just gets to guard him, and then all of a sudden Tobias gets to go out there and score as many points as he wants after Ben Simmons has tired down LeBron James. So, with all of that being said, I think the trade that this team needs to make is just one more really good bench player or a really solid rotation player, like you said, Joe Harris or someone to that caliber. This team can't trade for Bradley Beal. We just don't have the pieces to do it. However, this team really does need that kind of PJ Tucker player. That would make them really good. Same with the Nets. The Nets don't need a world beater. They just need a plug who stands in the paint and takes care of business. That's what the Nets need. None of these teams need to really trade who they have to get better. They just need to acquire someone, and maybe that's at the veteran minimum at the end of the trade deadline or free agency signing. Someone always comes up. Someone always gets a buyout option. It's gonna happen. We just can't predict who it is, because every team right now thinks that they are in a run for the championship. But the Wizards and the Bulls, all these teams have veteran players who will be bought out. There is going to be someone. And so, 76ers fans, I wouldn't trade. Do not trade for J.J. Redick. Me and Jim were talking about J.J. Redick the other day. Do not trade for J.J. Redick. Now, if J.J. Redick gets bought out and he's on the market for $1 million as a veteran minimum, then you can justify to me getting J.J. Redick and having him as a potential off-the-bench shooter and a veteran. These great teams, they get people who literally are going to contribute for one game in the NBA Finals. But that's what the great teams do. They find that veteran. The 76ers need to find that veteran who they're going to pay, and he's going to be good for 3 of the multiple playoff games you had. But guess what? That was worth it. That was just a little bit that brought you over the edge and gave you your championship. Every team has one of these guys. That's how the 76ers are going to get better. They're going to be good players on the veteran minimum, and I want to put the kibosh on the trade talks for J.J. Redick. Just don't do it. Don't do it.
Agreed. I don't think J.J. Redick is the answer for any of this. Now, I have a list of 5 players for you, and maybe there's somebody that's not on the list that you might think is better. But again, I have 5 players. I wanted to see what you thought. So P.J. Tucker, you already mentioned him, so I'll throw him out there. Lou Williams, Kyle Lowry, Rudy Gay, or Victor Oladipo. Who do you think? Do you think any of them fit, or do you think a wild card fits better?
Oh, well, Victor Oladipo is not going to become available.
Yes, well, I guess we'll have to trade a lot more for Victor than the other players, but he's on the radar apparently for the Sixers.
I mean, he's a good player. And
yeah,
he's
sure.
like a guy who can. If I would just have him run the second unit, of course he doesn't think he's that kind of player, and his shooting's not that great. It's okay, but it's not great. I think a PJ Tucker might help, but again, good guard play is what this team needs. No Rudy Gay. Kyle Lowry probably the guy I'd go for.
As much as I hate playing against Kyle Lowry,
he is the definition of that veteran.
Yeah,
who comes in and knows how to win, plays hard, and is a true point guard, can shoot the ball really well. I really think he would. I don't think it would happen, but out of all those people you named, he's the gamer I want. He's been there before. He's won more than Lou Williams. He's won more than Oladipo, Gay, PJ Tucker. Give me Kyle Lowry. He plays a position that we need, a bench ball handler. It doesn't even have to be off the bench. He just is that dynamic and plays that hard. And I think he would do it for Philadelphia. He's always been interested in coming to Philadelphia.
Yeah, he's from here, and guess what? The Raptors are 9-12. Like they're not looking so great this year. So we could wind up getting him, and that would be really great. I think that's the best fit too.
Yeah. No, I agree. Jim, I want to talk about little Twitter spat I got into over the weekend, if that's okay with you. Do you mind?
No, I don't mind, of course.
Excellent. So, this past weekend, producer Sean P. and producer Tommy Higley and I got in an argument with a couple of people who I think query the name Phil Martelli into the Twitter search bar, find the tweets, and then start responding. So I wrote this tweet. Not that crazy. Jim's playing, I don't know, watching something else in the background. And my tweet goes like this. Question I keep asking myself. Did St. Joe's fans wallow in self-pity when Dr. Jack Ramsey, Jack McKinney, Jim Lynam, and Jim Boyle left the school? Then why are we so focused on Phil Martelli? The fan base is paralyzed by the dismissal of one of the many great coaches at St. Joseph's University. The greatness of St. Joseph's basketball tradition stretches much farther than the 2003 and 2004 team. It's a 50-year tradition. And to think we let go of the only great coach the school ever had would be foolish. It happened. It was ugly. But move on to the one thing you can control, the future. I had guys like Dennis Ashley, who used to play for St. Joe's, favoriting the tweet. Because people know that's a rational thought. It's okay. It's okay to acknowledge that it happened, that Phil was fired. And it's okay to acknowledge the fact that the team can move on. We've had great coaches. This wasn't the only great coach we had. And this person, I'm not going to say their name because I'm a nice guy. This person responds, answer I keep giving. And he went on to basketballreference.com, the easiest website to ever go to. Actually, I know the guy who runs it, Dr. Sean Foreman, had him on the show. And he goes, answer I keep giving myself. And it's a picture of the Hawks going 1-14 and 6-26 over the last 2 years. And yeah, it's the worst winning percentage in school history. And I responded, so you're picking wallow in self-pity, right? That's all you're going to talk about. You're not going to no one wants to talk about solutions. No one wants to talk about the answers. Everyone thinks that they're just a critic who knows how to build a basketball team because they can go into the ESPN trade machine, type in something dumb, and say, I'm a GM. I know how to do it all. They don't watch the team all day. They don't know anything about basketball. They're these unathletic kids who never did a sport in their life, don't know how to build a team. See, that's the thing. Me and Jim, we know how to build a team. We were a part of a team. We were part of college athletics. Now, I'm not saying I know everything, because I don't. That would be wrong. That would be me lying. And that's the thing you don't get at Tony's Takes. You get the truth at Tony's Takes. You get honest opinion at Tony's Takes. And my honest opinion is this. It's so easy to nitpick a team. It's so easy to go, my guy got fired. It's so I'm really angry. But what does it do? You're just wallowing in self-pity. And this person responded to me. I'm picking anger and demanding they make a change. They already made the mistake. Can't undo it. That doesn't mean anything. I have to be content with the worst 2 seasons in 112 years at St. Joseph's basketball. I'm so sorry, little Timmy, little Johnny. I'm sorry. You got to watch a little losing. Welcome to sports. It's full of it. It makes you stronger. It makes you better. Jim, how many times did you come in last in college in a race? Happened more than once. Happened to all of us. It doesn't feel good when you're the last person in the heat. Of course it doesn't. But it makes you better. It makes a team have more culture. It makes them stronger. And you just want to call it quits after a year and a half, and you want to query the name Phil Martelli in Twitter and look for me? That's what you want to do? That's how angry you are at the school? How about you come to the table with an answer then, if you're such a genius? How about you spend every day thinking about St. Joe's, writing about St. Joe's, talking about St. Joe's basketball in an intellectual and actually substantive way? Not just shallow, we're 1-14. That's my answer. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you can't look past the fact that this team had 0 recruits. The fact that this team is building from scratch. Yes, it's like we lack the nuance. It's Jim, you can make an argument that the team needed to move on while also thinking that Billy Lang needs to improve things at the school, can't you?
Correct.
Can I make that rational decision?
Yes, definitely. We say this every week.
Every week. But no one listens to Tony's takes. This kid doesn't listen. He doesn't want to listen. He doesn't want to listen to the truth. He doesn't want to listen to an idea that might be a little bit different. Maybe we did move on, and you can't revert the past, even if you were right that it was the wrong thing to do. We can't go back in time. Until Elon Musk makes the machine that does it, we're all stuck in the present. And the only way to move forward is to actually think about solutions, not just complain on your couch.
Well, we can still hold Billy Lang responsible without without thinking that this is all like the greatest thing in the world. We don't have to think that Phil Martelli is going to come back and save us. Like it's time to move on. And the fact that this is still going on 2 years later is it's absurd.
The fan base is split, and I've written an op-ed about it. I mean, I really have. It's going to be published soon, so everyone keep an eye out. Stephen Daniels goes, "You want the truth? You can't handle the truth." Most people don't want the truth. That's the sad fact.
The only thing that we can do as fans and observers is just try to make the next step the right step forward. Cheer this team on and hope that they start to play together and hope that they get the recruits and eventually just evolve into a much better team than what they are right now. Yes, we took a step back, but it was for the better. Sometimes when you're cleaning your room, you got to mess up the room a little bit more before you can actually organize everything in its place. And that's kind of what's going on here. Things are a little messy right now.
Great analogy, Jim.
Now we're about to start organizing things, and
Yeah.
the whole room's going to look nice and clean when we're done.
It's almost like you got to do a real, you got to move the furniture to get underneath and
move the
clean.
furniture.
Yeah, you got to move the furniture. It can't just be a little dusting. No, we're rearranging. We got an interior designer to come in and rebuild the whole thing. So it's pretty and modern and new.
And then there's going to be space on a shelf for you to put the trophy.
An elf on a shelf. Now, I respond to this guy and said, when has anger ever led to good decision making? Let's use common logic. Calm and logic. Not like common logic like COMMON. I'm saying calm like the app. Half the recruits and players left in 2019. And so what do you think was going to do it? This is Jim's analogy. We had to kind of clear everything out. And then he goes, and I said, have you ever played college athletics? Takes more than 1.5 years to rebuild with recruits. Regardless of who comes in, it's going to be a long road. Look at LaSalle. Regardless, you could bring in the next, this is my other thing. You want him fired. The next guy is going to deal with this for another 2 years. It is going to be, whoever comes in, it's going to be an automatic 2 to 3 year losing streak. LaSalle is showing much promise. They upset St. Louis. They still have so many issues 3 years in. But it's not solved overnight. Nothing is. Programs take 10 years to build. Look at Jay Wright at Hofstra. He had a losing record for 3 years in the beginning. So I don't want to hear it. Quite frankly, I don't care. I thought this is just funny. It's funny to talk about. It gives us something to rant about, but it really doesn't matter. Who cares what this person says? He doesn't have a press pass to the Atlantic 10 tournament. I do.
Flex
A little bit. But his points can be valid. See, that's the thing. In my op-ed, I say this. It's okay to say, hey, we kind of forgot that St. Joe's just doesn't automatically get good. We're not Duke where anyone can come in and win. Make that relative argument. But you can't keep dodging, and you can't just keep wallowing in the past. And if you're going to complain about Billy Lang, let's make I can't say that word, but let's make practical arguments. If you get rid of Billy Lang, you're just asking for another 3 years of rebuilding and losing. So is your solution really to make the team better if that is your solution to our problem? How can you say fire Billy Lang when you look at Jordan Hall and see that he is unbelievable? This kid is NBA talent. So let's use our noggins. God gave you a brain. Use it.
I think using LaSalle as a reference for this team is really great. 2017, 2018, they were 13 and 19. Then the next year, 2018, 2019, they were 10 and 21. They took a step back from the year before that. This is when Howard came in. This happens when you're rebuilding the program, and And then we have 2 players get hurt and not come back or whatever.
And now you're just throwing like spaghetti at the wall and looking at what sticks.
Yeah,
from like a roster standpoint.
These things aren't expected to happen, and when they do, it really makes things worse than it seems. And I don't think they're as bad as the 1-14 record that they are. It's not a full team that's playing basketball every night.
And Jim, we said this in the thread. The thread is so long. I've never had 30 responses to a tweet before. This was unbelievable. Multiple people started flying into it. And they were just saying crazy stuff like, "Oh, Greg Foster Jr. was never that great." Well, we don't know that. Like, that's just you assuming and trying to like pin it on Coach Lang. Like, it's just, I'm okay with criticism. But let's be honest, criticizing and saying the school didn't treat Phil Martelli right or Jill Bodensteiner needs to go because of her ethics of how she treated Phil, that's a stale argument. I don't want to hear it. I guess that's my point. If you're going to make arguments about St. Joe's or why we should fire Billy Lang, make the argument of why right now. Give me the reason why a new coach would be better. Right now. Right now. Are there recruits that's following him that we don't know about that are better? Are there transfers who are coming from better programs because this one coach came in? Who on the coaching market are you interested in that's such a big name that we got to get rid of the guy that we currently have? Those are actual arguments. Those are actual proposals. And those are actual solutions. If you think that Coach Lang isn't the answer, well, give me the coach that is, right? So.
I don't know who that guy would be.
That's the thing. Yeah. Like, I don't know who's coming to the rescue. We kind of just have to feel it out a little bit. Jay Wright's not taking a step on Hawk Hill anytime soon.
To argue about this is just it's over my head. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't understand it at all.
People just want to be angry, and they don't want to come to common ground. Okay, Jim, let's go. We're gonna talk about the big game. Talk about the big game. Huge.
Oh, the big game.
The big game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have to do our predictions.
We're gonna predict about the big game, Super Bowl. I said it. And this is to break up the tie that me and Jim had for the season. Me and Jim are tied on our predictions of who would win Eagles games throughout the year. We predicted the spread and the over-under, and it came out to an exact tie, even with a tie on the record. Like, we were 8-1 or something like that.
Yeah, it was crazy. I had a lead at one point in like the first half of the season.
He had like a 5-game lead.
I was like, there's no way he's catching me. And then it just closed in and oh, man,
we might have been 8. I think we were like 8-10-1. We both had losing records by like 1 or 2 games.
I thought we were like 13-11-1 or something.
I thought we were like 8-10-1.
I don't know.
All I know is it was a tie.
Yeah.
Because we settled on this like 2 weeks ago. But Jim, I want to talk about this for you because you're wearing your Eagles jersey today. And so I'm going to play a little special clip for you that all Philly fans or Eagles fans hold very dear in their heart.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it.
Philly special. Ready? Here we go. Tonight! Easy! Kill! Lane! Let's go!
That's enough of that. I don't need to play the whole 40 seconds of it, but
I got chills, Tony.
Jimmy's crying.
Happy Eagleversary, everybody.
Yeah, just get it out now. Tell me how you feel. Do you miss it? What's wrong? Here's 3 minutes. Go.
Okay.
Talk about it.
Tony, that was such a big moment for us. Especially for my family.
You were on the sidelines, suited up, like when you say us.
No, we suffered a loss in our family just before that, like a month before it. And it was a tough time. And to see this happen kind of, had a lot of emotions come over us, something that we waited for so long, and it made us feel like we had a guardian angel just like taking care of the Eagles for us in Minnesota. It just felt like such a magical thing, and I'll always cherish that moment, being with my family and watching that game, and it was just so magical, and to think that they took Tom Brady down in his most common setting, the big game.
The big game.
In a shootout, they took Tom Brady down. I don't know. I'm about to start crying, but it was amazing.
Cry like all the Phil Martelli defenders.
And it actually makes the current time hurt worse, I think, because they've fallen so far down from where that was in just 3 years' time.
Little humility lesson for the Eagles and Jeff Lurie.
Yeah, you win one. You
You
win one
and then
game.
you fall
Yeah.
as hard as they fall.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because you bring up Minnesota. That was a year where we thought we were going to see a team. I never thought it was going to happen, but people thought it was a year that Minnesota was going to go and play the Super Bowl in their home turf. But instead, that is the job of Tom Brady, who is going to continue to make records. This isn't my prediction that he's going to continue to make records, but this is another record that he gets to put down. He's the first. This guy's got his fingerprints on everything. It drives me up a wall. So I want to read this interesting article that Jimmy put in the thing, and I'm gonna mute this because I know it's like one of those sites where you open it up and all of a sudden it just starts like blasting its crappy video. Let me read this. When the Buccaneers score a touchdown at Raymond James Stadium, cannons fire at Tampa's pirate ship-themed home field, but not at the Super Bowl or the big game. NFL officials told Jenna Lane of ESPN that they will not permit the cannons to be fired after Buccaneers touchdowns at Super Bowl 55. Right? That's 55, yep. The reason is the Super Bowl is supposed to be on a neutral field. This year's Super Bowl happens to be on a participating team's home field for the first time in NFL history. But that doesn't change the NFL's efforts at neutrality. The Buccaneers are considered the home team because the NFC is always the home team in odd number Super Bowls, and the AFC is always the home team in even number Super Bowls. But that only applies for issues such as getting to choose their jersey color. Everything about that stadium, including not only the cannons, but also the painting of the end zones and other elements of the field, will be treated as neutral. So while the cannons will fire during the pregame introductions, they will go unnoticed for the rest of the game unless a player throws the ball into the cannon, in which some of us will profit or whatever. Okay. Cute way to end your 200-word article. Jim, why does Tom Brady get to keep making history?
There's no way. I'm pissed off at this. All right?
Here we go.
If
Use anger. Let the anger run through.
If this was
Jim.
the Eagles at the link, I want to hear the fly, Eagles fly. You know, I want to hear all the stuff that they do when the Eagles score a touchdown. I think that this is absurd. If you don't want a team to play in their home stadium, don't pick a stadium. Don't pick a stadium that a team owns. Pick a neutral site every year, if that's the case. Why give the team the hope and inspiration that they're going to go play a Super Bowl in their stadium? It doesn't make any sense. Of course, it's not going to be neutral. No way. Because I believe season ticket holders are still going to have access to the Super Bowl, right? They always offer that to season ticket holders. So
I think they always split it in half, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so you're still going to have people that are close by, especially people that are close by buying tickets anyway. And I know it's going to be limited capacity, but you're still going to, I think it's still going to be overwhelming Tampa Bay fans, and it's not going to be neutral. In no way is it going to be neutral just because of the purity of the location, because Tampa Bay plays there more times than anybody else throughout the season. So why cancel this? You know, you're not going to remove the boat. It's still going to be there.
Get the crane in here. We're going to remove this thing.
So, yeah, I don't get this. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not a huge Tom Brady fan, but
neither am I.
I'm just on the side of the Bucs should be allowed to shoot their cannons when they score a touchdown.
I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to play Max Kellerman in this. It's NFL. They're neutral. The NFL gets to do what they do. Good luck trying to tell them to do otherwise. There's many other things that players really fight for with the NFL, and this is the last thing on their mind. However, it's a fan-driven league. Fans are important, and making them happy is important. And I don't think that Kansas City fans really would care if the Buccaneers had a home court advantage or whatever. The only advantage really that matters is the fact that Tom Brady escaped playing in the cold with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that they get to play in a warm weather area. That's the advantage that's inherent. Teams get this inherent advantage by them never playing the Super Bowl in cold weather. I think they should, but that's an unpopular opinion that most players would probably disagree with. I think that's more important. not just not playing every year in a warm weather climate. I like when it's cold.
Yeah, I like when the Super Bowl is in Green Bay.
Give me a little snow.
Yeah.
Now, the halftime show, who cares about the halftime show? Jim, you are against the halftime show, aren't you?
I'm against it. The 24-minute halftime show.
Let's return to this.
Tom Brady is 43, okay? He can't... 24 minutes, he's going to get so cold. His arm's going to be stiff. He's not even going to be able to play the second half.
You have said that you are going to boycott it.
Boycotting the big game.
Tell the people the big game boycott.
I'm just not going to watch.
Why should they do it?
You should do it because neither of these teams are likable. You don't. Nobody's going to be happy when one of these teams wins. You always want to have somebody that is like an underdog or somebody that like just doesn't seem like they really have a chance, but ends up conquering the Chiefs or like the Eagles beating the Patriots. You need a team that isn't like favored that much, and both teams I think are first time ever for me. I feel like both teams are favored.
Okay, so now it's time for our predictions. The spread is Kansas City is favored by 3. Now, a man in Texas who owns a furniture store has put over $1 million on Tampa Bay. So, Jim, with that being said, and the over-under is 56 points. We're going to take the spread, and then we're going to take the over-under. And then whoever's closest on the over-under, you got to give me a final score that way in case we have any ties.
Okay. And we'll write it down.
Write it down. So you're going first.
Okay. I have a friend who always preaches home dogs. Always. They always cover. So I'm taking Tampa Bay with +3. Now the over/under. Oh gosh, this has so much potential to be over. With just the pure firepower from both teams. I'm going to take over. I'm going to go over, and the Bucks +3. And,
but here's the thing. I just want to say this. Jim saying the Bucks +3 doesn't mean that the Bucks win the game. Or do you think they're going to win the game too?
It doesn't mean that they're going to win the game. That's correct.
But are you doing it because you think you're going to win the game?
Oh, I'm doing +3 because I think they're going to cover the 3 points, and against the spread.
So you think it's going to be like a 1-point game? What I'm trying to do is trying to make you commit to saying which team is going to win.
I mean, I can't make that commitment. I can't do it right now.
Okay, fine.
Give me your predictions. Hold on. Do you want me to give my score first?
Yeah. So write that down. So Tampa covers over the 56. Now give me a score.
I'm gonna give a score. Oh, but do I have to assign it to a team?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Now
I'm gonna say
Jimmy's got to do some mental math. You got to make sure he doesn't give me a score that's under 56.
I'm gonna do 32-31 Bucks.
Okay. So I'm going to take Kansas City -3. I think they're going to win the game. I'm going to also take the over. But what I'm going to do differently than you, Jim, is if you and me are tied for any reason, I don't even know how this is possible if we could tie. But if we do tie, like if it's a push, that means the over hit. So, or the under hit, whatever way. My thought process behind it is this. If I'm taking the over as one of my bets, why wouldn't I put the final score as the under? Because if we get pushed, some will call it a short. If we get pushed, to overtime, it probably means because I picked the over under wrong.
Okay.
So, or I picked it right. I think I'm overthinking it. Okay, I'm going to go final score. Final score. 28-20. Kansas City. They win by 8. Had to make sure I didn't go over 56.
Wow. Oof. Okay. I'm excited. I'm not going to watch, but I'm excited to see the result.
He is boycotting. He will be in the kitchen making those famous Jimmy chicken wings.
I got to bring some over. I really need to.
The trick is you put them under the broiler.
Broiler at the end.
At the end.
Yeah.
No, you stick them under the broiler for 40 minutes, and you see what happens.
Oh. I'll be there with the fire department.
Crispy. How many? Jim's a firefighter. How many times do you get called out for like broiler mishaps?
I don't know about broiler mishaps. There's a lot of overcookings that we.
Is there like burnt bird or kind of like the Eagles? That's what I call the Eagles, burnt birds.
We had one recently. I didn't make it for it, but it was like a coffee pot.
Like a Mr. Coffee machine.
Yeah.
That's like some wiring malfunction.
Yeah, it's always electrical.
Debbie Daniels goes, yes, wings. I will say this. How many times do you go out there for arson? Any arson cases? Accelerants that you weren't expecting?
None that I can talk about.
Well, of course, he's held to a court of law, or he's committed the crime and doesn't want to admit to it. Stephanie Daniels goes, chicken wing, hot dog, and bologna. What does that even mean?
Is that
a song you guys sing?
Wing, hot dog and balloon. It's like a girl's like.
Does the Daniels family circle around the oven and put the broiler on and sing that song?
Yeah, we sing chicken wing, hot dog and bologna.
So I want to talk about something that happened to me, Jim. So Jim's in my house right now, and I got a new pair of socks. So the reason why I say I got new socks, because if you've ever bought a pair of socks, they're slippery. Like if you ever walk on a new hardwood, you got new socks, and you walk on the hardwood floor, they're not really worn in, and the cotton that's on them, it's kind of slippery. And so I was walking down the steps here in the basement, and I slipped and fell hard. And my elbow, Jim, you can attest, the wall, there's like a little hole in the wall, like a window hole kind of.
Sure,
like,
I see it.
That thing is solid concrete.
Ooh.
And I put my arms out to like catch myself, and there's a corner. I swear, I slammed my elbow so hard on the funny bone, I thought I broke my arm. I legitimately thought I fractured my arm.
Did you lose feeling in your pinky and then the ring finger?
No, just sharp pain at the the site.
One time I slammed my funny bone so hard against like a door, it tingled all the way down to my pinky and ring finger, and I couldn't feel them.
Yeah, like your tendon is just like messed up afterwards. Yeah, because it's not broken because I keep touching the area, and there's no like single pressure point. And then when I lift my arm above my head or like flex it like this, I get a lot of pain. No way it's a broken bone from this. Like it's all tendon that's like really inflamed that just like hurts.
Ugh.
Like when right when I'm closing it, like I'm flexing like this, oh, it's like all pain right here.
I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you what.
I don't think it's broken.
Okay. Well,
like usually broken, it's like sharp pain in one area.
Is it bruised? Has it started bruising?
No.
Oh, then I think you're probably fine.
I think it's like it's not even a bone bruise. I really think it's just like I slammed this tendon really hard.
Yeah, the nerve endings in there are very sensitive right there, and that's just.
I think that's my issue. So we'll see. We'll have to check in on this one. This is probably one of my more painful injuries.
You probably didn't really slip. You probably tripped because the light from the tree in the backyard probably got
that light is still on. That light is still on. They have not unplugged the light. It is still on. How long can this go on for? How long can I be driven crazy? I might go over there at the end of the show and unplug it.
Do you get upset by just thinking about their electric bill?
Yes. So imprudent. Such a terrible decision. Unplug the thing. I was gonna make a joke, but I'm not even gonna go there. This is a family show. But I'm just gonna say this. Unplug it. Unplug the light. You know, they're really pushing to get people rid of like these combustion engine cars. It's because people leave their lights on all day. So I got to give up my Honda Accord because someone wants to light a tree from December to February continuously without unplugging it.
All day.
All day. That's why. Come on. That ain't right. And it's a total violation of the See, this is a problem. I also don't live in the greatest neighborhood. And we don't have like a what are those things called? Like a neighborhood association or whatever.
Neighborhood watch.
Neighborhood watch. Watch me do this. I'm going to unplug it. That's what you're going to watch me do. It just drives me up a wall, Jim. Oh, well.
Steve Daniels said, Karen, leave it alone.
What happens if it turns into the burning bush, Steven? I know you're in the fire department. That tree goes up. Now it skips across the yard to my house. Now I'm burning up. And then you don't get Tony's takes. Now, sure, my Mr. Coffee Pot could probably catch fire faster, but it's just unbelievable that this tree has just remained lit. Eric Franklin goes, hey, Eric, I recently got a fully electric car and I'm very happy with it. Cool. But I'm not. I need something that gets maybe 4 gallons. 4 gallons. Takes 4 gallons for a mile. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an ultimate gas guzzler. I want it to be as efficient as a private jet.
The old Hummer ones. That's what you're looking for.
The Hummer ones that were like actual Humvees.
Yeah. They took up like a lane and a half.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
because where they go, they don't follow driving laws. Like the places that they drive, like the laws don't exist anymore.
Where like cars have to pull over just so that Hummer can pass over.
Lazed goes, people have neighborhood watches in New Jersey. I mean, yeah, that's like a common thing. Neighborhood
have them
watches.
all over, yeah.
This bush really drives me crazy, folks. It's just like I just can't deal with the light always on. I'm watching ESPN. There's a glare on my screen because my TV like faces the backyard. The light's on. The snow is falling all day, all night. The light's on. I still can see it. The lights were even now. There's snow on the ground, so everything's brighter. The tree looks 4 times brighter at night now. It's just reflecting off of all the snow. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievably dumb. And I'm going to remove the lights soon, shortly. We'll record it and put it on YouTube probably. Me crawling underneath their deck to remove the cord.
That's a truly live stream.
That's a true live stream.
Yeah.
They're making an electric Hummer. Oh,
yeah,
I
Eric,
can't win. I can't win.
I've seen the electric Hummer. It doesn't look good. I'm not a big fan. My dad's a huge fan of it.
Yidge.
I think it looks bad.
Okay, Jim, that's enough from me. We got to wrap this show up. We're a mess.
All right, Tony, final thing for me.
Absolute
right?
mess. Yeah.
Phillies,
go ahead.
Notable signings. They just
Yes,
signed
get this in for Eric. Eric's a big Phillies fan.
Matt Moore to a one year deal. JT Realmuto, we talked about that last week. Archie Bradley, that was a couple weeks before that. And Sam Coonrod, who was a relief pitcher from San Francisco that we got him. And then they are also avoided arbitration with like Rhys Hoskins and Zach Eflin and people that we'd like want to come back.
Do I want Zach Eflin to come back?
Yeah. Eflin had a pretty decent season last year.
It's Velasquez. I can't stand.
Vinny Velo they avoided arbitration with Vinny Velo.
Get that guy out of here.
Yeah. But the Phillies are looking good, and I'm excited for this spring, and hopefully Eric Franklin can have that little.
Maybe we can go to a game with Eric. Yeah, we did have a little fun. I had fun at that game. That was like the last Phillies game I went to too. That was a good time.
Yeah, that was they went into extra innings.
We went. Yeah, we were standing. It rained on us. Like it poured that game.
Yeah, I think I left after 9. I didn't.
No,
stay.
we stayed for the. Oh no,
I didn't stay. I know John and Evan did.
Well, you were my ride home.
Oh.
Yeah, it was you, me, and Julie.
We'll have to hash this out.
I was the third wheel in the back of the Nissan. But yeah, no, I'm gonna say about this. The Phillies, it's like they're buzzing my phone all the time. Those little red emoji light flashing things. It's like trade. It's
making deals.
It's like I'm happy the team's doing the right thing. They're trying to improve. And then not enough time for it now, but look up Mike Adams' story when you get a chance. We'll do that. I'll make sure to do that, Eric. And Stephen Daniels goes, how about those Flyers? I could care less.
They're good. They can't lose games like they did last night, though, where they're up and they have a power play with like 6 minutes to go. They can't lose when they're up 3-2 and they have like 6 minutes left in the game and they end up losing the game in overtime. They can't keep doing that.
Yeah. And Least goes, 20 more minutes about cars. I could talk an hour about cars, but maybe for another time. That does it for today's episode of Tony's Takes. I really do appreciate everyone coming out and listening to today's episode. If you're a new person to the show, if this is your first time listening to us on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and double click the notification bell. That way you get notified every time we go live. Also, follow us on Twitter at Tonys_takes. Once again, that's at Tonys_takes. If you're listening to the recorded version on Apple Podcasts, it goes up after every live episode. Make sure to rate and review Tony's Takes. Leave a 5-star review and a written review, and we will read it out loud on the show. And finally, all your takes. I know you say them in the chat when we're live on YouTube, but if you want a question read on the show prior to the show, or you want a topic covered on the show, email the mailbag, tonystakes.1851@gmail.com. Once again, that's tonystakes.1851@gmail.com. Jim, thanks for being on the show today. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me, Tony. Boycott the bowl.
Boycott the bull. And thanks once again to everyone on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts for listening to Tony's Takes. We look forward to seeing everyone right here on YouTube live next Thursday. Everyone, have a great week.
The premier sports talk radio, it's Tony's Takes.
Here we go.